Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday the 17th of August comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the Forex rates. We see here a lot of mixed colours generally, but mostly green, so markets are still holding on. We see here the dollar index is actually bearish below the cloud on the short-term chart. Remembering this is my weekly, daily and 60-minute chart, long-term, medium-term and short-term views with a corresponding point and figure target. So we've got bearish short-term pressure with downside targets this week, so dollar is still looking pretty weak. And against the euro, we're seeing the euro looking stronger against that weaker dollar. Japanese yen sitting at 106.50 against the dollar, not a lot of change there. And if we look at sterling, sitting at 130.82, we're range bound around this 130 level at the moment. We do have a few upside targets and a couple of downside targets there against sterling as well, so that's quite key. Looking at sterling against the euro, we see here we're a short-term bearish as well. Against the Swiss franc we're bearish, and against the Aussie dollar we're sitting at 182. Bitcoin sitting at 11,800, just can't get through this $12,000 mark, but looking like it's building for a breakout here, basing pattern and pushing higher. US stock market was very little change last week. We see here the weekly candle just nudging that previous high on the S&P 500 index, just struggling to get through, so hitting some resistance there. The Nasdaq of course has well and truly broken to new highs, so that's looked pretty bullish. The Dow was up slightly on Friday, but it's a long way from its previous high. The futures today, the S&P future up 0.25%, and the Nasdaq E-mini up over 0.5%, does suggest that we will see markets opening higher in the US. Market volatility is up this morning a little bit, but still declining since that peak we saw back in March. Little change in the UK market this morning. The DAX in Germany down slightly, and the CAC Caron also down slightly. So we're just seeing markets fairly subdued. Japan was weaker, poor economic results out there, and we are still short-term bullish, but long-term we've really struggled over the last few years in Japan. And the picture is similar in Hong Kong. The Hang Seng Index has been in general decline, although it's looking a little bit better short-term. The Chinese market was up 2.3%, so looking like we're pushing to new highs there, so that's looking pretty good. And the Sensex in India up 0.1% despite renewed coronavirus concerns there. The Aussie market down 0.8%. So that was also weaker. Gold sitting at 1950, needing to get back above this $2,000 mark, but at the moment just wandering back into bullish territory. New upside target of $3,000 if we can break to new highs, so that will be obviously very significant indeed. Silver holding at 26.64. The pullback last week, but it's looking pretty good this morning, and we're back into short-term bullish territory there. US 10-year yields steady at 0.7%, so they've really come off the bottom as well. Taking a quick look at the energy mix in Europe, we're seeing crude oil very much in a range around this $45 mark on Brent crude, and that's really just struggling to break out. We do have an upside target here, a mixed picture really, slightly favouring the upside, but still looking a bit bearish. And here we see WTI, much the same mixed picture there too. US nat gas had a very strong week last week. We've got more targets to play for, making 9-month highs, so that's quite significant. Coal is up slightly this morning, had a bad week last week, falling away. We see here bearish once we'd fallen through that cloud, so we are still in bearish mode. Downside target nearly met. If we look at emissions, we are recovering this morning. We've got a new upside target to 2720. We seem to have found support, so we're calling a better week for emissions this week. MVP UK gas up very strongly this morning, breaking to new highs, so that's looking better. And TTF also just starting to nudge new highs as well. If we can break 860, then we've got a new upside target to 1078, so that would be very significant. And we're seeing winter gas up 4% this morning as well, so that long-term recovery is still in train. German power has got downside targets hanging over us, but we seem to have found some support here as well. So we're fairly neutral at the moment. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.